The Nether update is easily one of the best received updates to Minecraft. But what if we were to add more content to it? From generation, to mobs, all the way to more food options so they don't starve, we're going to be improving the Nether with mods. If you enjoy the video, consider subscribing. First off, we'll be enhancing the generation, the way the world generates and the biomes that come along with it. Mods like Biomes O'Plenty and Oh the Biomes You'll Go add a few more biomes onto the pre-existing set, with new unique blocks. Infernal Expansion also adds a new biome, the Glowstone Canyon, which feels like it would fit perfectly with the current vanilla Nether biomes. Better Nether adds a lot more amazing and dynamic biomes to the game, along with its own structures and mobs, like these giant obsidian crystals that can be broken down to make blue or purple obsidian glass, making for a great decor block. This mod even adds bone spores, which makes it possible for players to farm bone meal before finding a skeleton spawner. The Cinderscapes mod adds a few more unique biomes as well, like the darkened ashy shoals that house a unique tree type, blackstone shales, which are very similar to soul sand valleys and crimson forests, having some blocks from each, with mostly blackstone mixed in. On top of them, this mod adds the beautiful luminous groves and the quartz canyons, which are extremely unique additions. And finally, for our generation mods, we have the Amplified Nether data pack, which I wouldn't have counted if it weren't for the staggering size of the pillars and biome stacking that this adds, giving so much more to explore. If we were to upgrade the Nether, we would also have to add more dungeons and other structures to loot and explore. Piglin Expansion adds a few new smaller structures like the Piglin Fortress and the Piglin Ship, which can be found anywhere within the Nether, adding a bit more world building. The middle chest in the hull of the ship will usually contain something good like diamonds or even a netherite ingot, being the ship's main treasure like the end ships with the elytra. The Bygone Nether mod adds some extremely impressive structures to the game, like an improved fortress that uses red nether brick, and more complex designs that make it look better overall. Even the bastions have small tweaks. Some newer structures include the Piglin Manor, Citadel, and Catacomb. The Piglin Manor houses the Piglin Hunters, which carry a hoglin skull on their back. Some can be found riding atop a wither skeleton horse. The attic is filled with chests, all containing bastion-esque loot. The Citadel contains amazing loot, like a mixture of End City and Bastion loot, but it's filled with warped Endermen, which are stronger Endermen that become aggressive instantly. If you're able to take one down, it gives the warped Ender Pearl, which doesn't do any damage when thrown and gives resistance and slow falling for a few seconds after teleporting. The Catacomb sits within the more dead biomes, being the shape of a giant wither. It's filled with a multitude of wither skeleton variants to protect the area, with a lot of withered blocks that can't be used in ways they normally can be, only being obtainable through netherite tier tools. Stalwart Dungeons adds two new structures to the Nether, the Keeping Castle in the Crimson Forests, and the Awful Dungeon within the Soul Sand Valleys. The Keeping Castle houses extremely tough enemies like the Giddy Blaze, which sits as a statue, igniting as the player gets close to it. The castle is full of mazes and doors, with an altar that's located under the center of the structure. Using a nether star on this altar summons the Nether Keeper as the boss for this structure. The Awful Dungeon has many parkour-like elements to it, guarded by the incomplete wither skeletons and reinforced blazes, housing blocks that push you around in pits of lava that punish players that fail said parkour. This dungeon has its own altar as well, spawning the Awful Ghast. Updating the Nether without adding more mobs would be an arbitrary decision, so now it's time we focus on adding more. Within the catacombs that I mentioned before is a piglin named the Piglin Prisoner, which is completely passive and can be recruited. Giving them gold weapons, armor, and an ingot makes the piglins fight alongside you against the wither skeletons. As another note on the warped enderman, it can be pacified by shearing it a few times, turning it back into a normal enderman, but doing this won't yield the warped ender pearl. The Alex's Mobs mod adds quite a few dynamic mobs to the Nether, like the Leviathan, a large dinosaur-like mob that swims in the large lava oceans. Players are able to stand on top of it, as long as it doesn't decide to dip back under the lava. Soul Vultures have the ability to steal health from enemies. If defeated, it can drop its heart, which can be used to make a potion of life stealing, letting the player harness the Soul Vulture's ability. The Bone Serpent, apart from targeting the player, will also target wither skeletons, leaping into the air to crush them with its body. It lives in the depths of lava lakes, leaping out on occasion. If defeated, it can drop its tooth, giving players the ability to craft a potion of lava vision. The Drop Bear lives in nether wastes, leaping from ceilings onto players. When facing off against one, they can attack rapidly, but defeating one yields a claw, allowing the player to brew a potion of clinging, letting the player walk along the roofs of the Nether. The Straddler is similar to the Strider, with a slingshot on its back, firing its offspring, the Stradpole, at you as a form of attack, letting the player use its drops to make the straddle board, which is just a surfboard for lava. Along with these hostile mobs, there are a lot more passive mobs that help with the Nether's ambience, like the Glow Moth. Even the Warped Toad code in the warp beetle that make the warped forest more than just the Enderman biome. Just adding some challenging mobs to the game doesn't suit if we don't add more bosses as major goals for the player. El Ender's Cataclysm adds 2 bosses along with a new mini-boss mob. The Netherite monstrosity sits within a large blackstone forge, awakening if the player gets too close. It'll throw balls of magma that create lava source blocks, absorbing them to regain health. It drops a hammer, its horn which can be used to make a unique helmet, and a music disc. The Ignited Revenant is the mini-boss of this mod. It can essentially be boiled down to a reimagined wildfire, blocking attacks with its shields and being able to have its defenses disabled when hit with an axe, even breathing ash into the player's face, blinding them momentarily. It can even throw bones as a form of ranged attack. After a few of these are defeated, their remains can be used to summon Ignis, which is one of the strongest bosses out of these mods. Ignis can block attacks with its shield, but is vulnerable whilst and a bit after attacking. It can also create shockwaves and cast spells to attack the player. Its fire-based attacks will also lower your armor's defense, making facing it late game the only smart option. I mentioned that Stalwart Dungeons holds 2 bosses as the main pool for raiding these dungeons, which need to be summoned using a Nether Star. The Awful Ghast is able to rapid fire and dons armor, giving it a ton of health. Anytime that the player is hit by its projectiles, it'll disable the use of the items that they were holding when hit. After it's defeated, it drops Awful Crystals and an Awful Gun, which shoots small Ghast fireballs. The Awful Crystals can be used to tame the Netherkeeper boss, or can be crafted into a dagger that removes all potion effects from any entity that it hits. The Netherkeeper is extremely powerful. If it corners the player, it only needs a few hits to defeat the strongest of players. Once defeated, it drops an Ancient Fire, which when offhanded, it can smelt ores instantly, not requiring any fuel. And of course, bosses of mass destruction, which I've mentioned in a previous video. The Nether Gauntlet serves as a difficult boss that only takes damage through its eye. It can destroy blocks, being almost as destructive as the Wither, if not more. To finish it all off, we should add a few smaller things. To start, we have the Nether's Delight mod, a nether-based extension for Farmer's Delight. It allows the player to eat warped and crimson fungus along with the meat of hoglins and striders, giving players the ability to sustain themselves if they're stuck or living in the Nether. Upgraded Netherite adds a lot more tiers that branch from Netherite, with extra or stronger buffs coming from dedication to having a full set of one type. Golderite can increase fortune levels and makes piglins passive to the player. Or Witherite that gives hit enemies the wither effect upon being hit, doing more damage to a mob inflicted with it, and giving the wearer immunity to wither overall. Immersive portals is a really popular one, with the transition from the overworld to the Nether being completely seamless. But if you have a lower end PC, this mod won't run as well. These portals can even be placed upside down or can be made in weird shapes, giving players more customizability. As our last mod, we have the sound physics mod. Adding this mod just brings more ambience and immersion to the Nether overall. Hearing the echoing of lava and ghast cries around you is a completely different experience compared to playing the game without it. Thank you for watching. Since it's the holidays, I'm going to be trying to post a little bit more often. So if you're interested in seeing the continuation of the Witherstorm Hardcore series, stick around for that. I'll also be doing a recap of all my end-related theories in one video, remastering the thumbnail of the first video, which was the first to blow up in popularity. On my second channel, I'm also working on 2 videos about the new Among Us game mode and the new Choo-Choo Charles game, so you guys will have a lot of content to see from me. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, and subscribing if you haven't already, because it always helps me grow the channel. So once again, thank you for watching, and have a good day or night.